Hello to all of you from around the world. I want to welcome you to another edition of Soulivity Today. We're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and whether you're at home or driving or at work, we're always glad you're here with us. We have such an amazing show for you today. I can't wait to get to it. But I've got to introduce my co-host, senior Soulivity contributor, Dr. Chanel DeGuzman is with me today. Hey, Chanel, how are you? And Happy New Year to you.
Good morning, Brian, and good morning to the audience. Happy New Year to everyone. How exciting for 2024.
I know. Whoop, whoop. Feliz Año Nuevo to our Latin brothers and sisters, and Bon Année to our folks in France. A little something. And that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got.
That's all you got. Okay. All right. That was good, Brian. That was good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What have you been up to? What's, we're going to get to the show in just a second, but I just wanted to make sure that I asked you about how was your holidays? What did you do to bring the new year in?
So let me just say, University of Michigan are national champions.
Heck yeah.
Champions. So that's like the big thing that honestly happened. We won the Big Ten title or something. We beat Alabama, and then we beat Washington. I don't even remember now, but just an incredible run.
Some team.
15, undefeated 15-0. And so it was incredible. And then, Gian is there. So just a fantastic time for him to be at the university. And he went to the watch party. But yeah, the way we brought New Year's Eve, Brian, Gian was in New York. He was supposed to watch the ball drop with some friends. So I was just a little worried, to be honest with you. But other than that, it was a quiet countdown at home with Gary and my daughter Giovanni. So very nice. How about you? How did you all bring in the new year?
Well, as people who watched our show on Monday or Wednesday, we went to Panama City for the New Year's, and it was spectacular. It was great. We had a great time. We intend on visiting the shores of Panama City again at some point in the very near future. The people there were fantastic, and so viva la Panama!
Incredible.
Te amo. We love you.
That's awesome.
A lot to discuss today. As you know, today's subject is something that I'm really always excited about. Since its founding, Soulivity basically has had one main mission, and that's to support people in creating better lives for themselves using basically two elements, and that's passion and purpose.
Yep.
But, I get asked a lot about how to get started in living an inspirational life, right? This inspired life using your passion and purpose. So what I decided to do is use something that we already use on our platform. And that is we tell stories of others who are using the principles, or we use content where they're talking about it. And that their success is a backdrop and kind of proof that it really works, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the people who has become an inspiration in my own life has been filmmaker Ava DuVernay. Um,
Yes.
she is the recipient of a Primetime Emmy Award, a NAACP Image Award, a BAFTA Film Award, a BAFTA TV Award, and as well as been nominated for an Academy Award and a Globe for her work on the magnificent film Selma. And,
Mhm.
I found this great inspirational clip of her talking about intention, right? Which for me is the grounding force in manifesting what your heart truly desires through like passion and purpose, which we'll talk about as we go through the show. And,
Right.
Chanel, I was thinking that it's so vitally important for all of us to be very clear on what we are putting our attention on, because that is exactly what we will create in different ways.
Yep.
So, want to start our conversation today by taking a look at this first clip where Ava goes into depth about intention and how it affects every area of our lives. And we'll discuss this on the other side. So let's take a look.
All right.
The intention of our attention. It's so big for everyone, but especially for artists and creative types like us. It's the cause that produces the effect, and the effect is our life. So whether you're conscious of it or not, your intention is the cause that produces the effect, which is your life. So if you are not paying attention to your intention, then your life just kind of is a bit of a hot mess. That's what I found. Each decision we make and action we take is born out of intention. So every thought, person, experience that we give our attention to is motivated by intention. And so at the moment when I actually started to write and try to direct my own stuff, I was still doing publicity for other people's films. I was trying to make my own films. I was asking for permission, pitching people, trying to get contacts and network and do all the things that don't matter, because the only thing that matters is your work. And so when I finally realized that and started to make small things and try to move them around festivals and just share my work, the energy behind that positive intention started a ball rolling. And I've only been making films for 5 years. And I only quit my job full time 3 years ago. Because I was still holding on to publicity as a security blanket. And so yeah, I look at, each year that's passed, and all I've tried to do is continue to make work, whether I have the money to make a film, a narrative, a doc, a commercial, a TV show, directed an episode of Scandal, a documentary about Venus Williams, a story I want to tell through whatever medium, short medium, TV medium, commercial medium, full length, documentary, feature. That's something that I really learned from Spike. Lee, not Jones. I'm sure Jones is nice, but I was talking to a lady. She was like, "Spike Jones?" I was like, "No, lady, Spike Lee." But remember he did commercials with Jordan. He's done almost as many docs as he's done narratives. He's made a film every year for the past 20 years. I mean, he's really the blueprint of just not even a black filmmaker, a filmmaker who has just continued to make work. And so that's how we're here now.
So the attention the intention of our attention, right?
Yes.
Woo!
Yes. The intention of our attention.
Right? I mean, what are we keeping our eye on? Right?
Yes.
What and are we even conscious of it, right? Because that's a part of it, right? Are we conscious of what we're focusing our energy, our thoughts, our dreams, and all that? What are we focusing on? Because that's exactly what we're going to be creating, right? And so, yeah, what say you, Dr. Chanel, when you saw that?
Yeah, I mean, she really nailed it. I mean, even, if we just write down the intention of our attention as I know it's probably won't be easy to do moment by moment, but gosh, if we could just start the day with figuring out what is our intention for the day.
Right.
And I know some people break it up in segments. So what is your intention? Like when we start our show, what is the intention for the show? What is the outcome that we want? What do we want the audience to experience? And we set that intention. And I
Intention.
think
Yes, we
the
do.
more we can be intentional about each area of our life, the more fulfillment we will we will have. We will summon that fulfillment by being focused on the very things that we want. I think what happens, Ryan, you mentioned it, it's consciousness. So if we're not deliberately conscious of the things that we want and the things therefore that we attract, we start to, you know by default, get other things that just come along with, being an employee, being a student, being, whatever your particular role is, versus deciding what it is that you want and then setting the intention and then going after that with a single-minded focus. And I know there's some debate about, that whole single-mindedness and focus,
Right.
but
Right.
if we haven't gotten what we wanted so far, if our bank account, and this is what somebody tells me is a real, filter. If your bank account does not reflect what you want, then you need to go back and start looking at what you're giving your attention to.
Right. Right. And there's this is just the first clip of 3 that we're going to be talking about today. But she talks about, like, later on, we'll talk about, like, being passion driven and not results driven. She's going to explain
Yeah.
some things around that. Um,
Mhm.
as well as, how does purpose kind of come into this? But I implore everyone, one of the first things that I recommend that people do, and it's something that you just said, Dr. Chanel, and that is begin your day with intention, right? It can be
Yes.
something as simple as when you wake up in the morning, find those things that you're grateful for, right? That's an
Mhm.
intention. Being
Yeah.
grateful for all the things that you have is a great way to manifest more of the same stuff, because you're keeping your eye on those beautiful blessings that the universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, has given you, and that you have been a co-creator in bringing into this life. So find that practice and do that every single day, even on the weekends,
Even on
because
the
I know
weekend.
sometimes we slip on the weekends. We got other things
Right.
like, oh, it's Saturday, I'm gonna take a break. It's like, again, those are just as important as the weekdays, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, and this will be part of, like, meditation and all this kind of things that you can do. And you can read so
Mhm.
much about it. But think about Ava and her life, and she had to readjust her lens, pun
Yes.
intended, on where the direction of her life was going to be, right?
Mhm.
Because she did many things before she went into filmmaking, which is something that her heart was calling her to, which she always wanted to do. So
Mhm.
listen, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we'll have more of Soulivity today, but we're going to talk about this next piece that she talks about, and that, call it purpose. But she frames it as, you got to include other people. You got to bring other people along. Your
Yes.
intention has to be wider in scope. So we're going to take this break. We'll be right back with myself and Dr. Chanel and more of Soulivity today in about 2 minutes. Hi there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So, how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life.
If your dream only includes you, it's too small. If that dream is just about the thing you want to accomplish and you don't even know why you want it, I mean, it's too small. It may take your attention, but you're not really winning. You may achieve it, but you're not growing from it. You're just going from thing to thing. It may look like success from the outside, but if you don't even truly know why you're doing it, then your cause and effect will be off and you're not going to be fully, truly living your dream. So I feel a little weird to tell you that when you win awards and the light is on you, that it's not going to be enough. But that's what I'm telling you. And I wish someone would have told me that early. If we limit our visions to those things outside of us to validate us, we're making an intentional error that might very well bring the outside thing you want, but it'll ring hollow in the end. Why? Because none of that shit really matters.
Woo! We are back with more here on Soulivity today. We're discussing the power of our intentions and how they can help support positive transformations in our life. Dr. Chanel DeGuzman is back with us as we talk about this important topic. You know, Chanel, we just saw award-winning filmmaker Ava DuVernay talking about having intentions that include more than just yourself and more than just things that are outside of ourselves. Such an important aspect to creating positive change in your life. What are your thoughts when you heard that?
Well, that last piece that she just said about limiting our vision
Yeah.
to the outside, right?
Hmm.
Versus it being inwardly focused. And that I think is getting back to that passion and that
Yeah.
purpose. So, what is it that lights a fire in your heart? What is it that illuminates on the inside versus looking on the outside for the validation to tell you what you're going to feel good about?
Yeah.
Because feeling, Brian, and you know you're really big on this, but the way you feel is your point of attraction. And so
Yeah.
having that inner joy, that inner light, that inner motivation and enthusiasm is going to attract. And then you put your attention on the thing that you want. That is what is going to attract it. So I love living from the inside out. And she really nailed that on that last point.
Absolutely. You know, it is amazing that when she said it, you know, about like the awards and the accolades and even the
Mhm,
money and all that kind of stuff,
mhm,
that
mhm.
she herself was saying it's not enough. It's never going to be enough, right?
And she said it was
And that
hollow.
and it was hollow, right? It's hollow.
Yeah.
It's almost like, yes, those, like, the money is a tool, right? This is a tool to get you from here to here. And when you've mastered
Mhm,
this amount, then it grows and it grows and it grows based upon what you are focused on in terms of your bigger picture, right?
mhm, mhm.
You will get accolades, you will get people say, you know, and I look at that as the universe saying, yes, you're on the right track. Keep doing
Yes.
this, keep
Mhm,
keep doing working from the inside out. Widen
mhm,
your scope, include other people, right? and this kind of thing, because I tell people a lot, like your passion is, regardless of money or fame or awards or anything that's out there, if you were fully taken care of, right, what would you do, right? What would be some of the things that you would spend your time doing, right? And whatever that
Right.
thing is, or that combination of things that create a thing, that's what you're passionate about, right?
Yes.
And then how do you use that to serve? How do you use that to serve yourself in terms of you growing and stretching and that kind of thing? Because if you're doing something that's not making you push outside of your comfort zone, you're not really growing, right? And so
Right.
that's part of the
Right.
package, right? As well as, I look at it like service. How are we bettering our world? How are we bringing attention to something? How are we supporting other people in them learning something that they didn't know about either themselves or their world around us, right? And I frame that all as our purpose. So when you combine those two, it just supercharges everything.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you go into this beautiful growth, and then that's what's fulfilling, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then
Absolutely, Brian.
everything else is just icing. It's just icing on the cake. You
Yes.
have the cake,
It's the
right?
bath with the water. Is that how is that the saying,
Oh
Brian?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
also just to go back, Brian, when you brought it up about, and she brought it up about doing your vision, your purpose, your passion with people. And going then further back to the intention, when you are intentional and you're going to attract people who get excited about your vision and about your passion and purpose. And you
yeah.
need those ambassadors, you need those supporters who will help propel your vision. Because if you could do your vision by yourself, like she said, it's not big enough, it's not far reaching enough. And so by having that vision and then submitting it, I want to say cementing it, let me enunciate, with your passion and that light and the love, you're going to attract people to help you propel the vision. And I think we forget that subtle element that it
Yeah.
does obviously take more than us, but just by the fact of you being on purpose, you're going to attract other cheerleaders to help you do the work, roll up the sleeves. Because at the end of the day, Brian, the vision's not going to happen until we roll up our sleeves and take deliberate action and take the steps necessary to bring the vision, to light and
Mm,
life.
mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Well, on that point, I'm just going to let that be the last thing we say about this segment, because I think you just
Okay.
brought us home, girl. I think you just brought
All
us
right.
home. I mean, seriously, just such important things, and we're so energetic this morning because this is ground zero for everything that you want to create in your life, and so
Mhm.
intentions and using intentions through passion and purpose, that will create your best life today. And so want to talk about this next piece in our next segment, where she talks about work being a mirror.
Mm.
Ooh, ooh. I mean, again, another important thing in terms of what is our intention and what are we focusing on, because our work and how our work shows up tells us what do we need to adjust our intention or not. And so we're
Mhm.
going to take another quick break, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Do you see me kneeling on this dual roller called Parasetter? It's actually comfortable because of this channel and the softness of the special foam. It feels like my kneecaps are being massaged. When I lie down, my spine is housed in this channel, while the convex rollers massage my muscles. They let go and lengthen. There's a traction effect from my head on the headrest and my mid-back from the rib wrap, which hugs me. When I start the breathing sequence, I feel calm because my cortisol levels are dropping. Lower cortisol means bye-bye constant hunger. Parasetter is 40 inches long and much more comfortable than old-style rollers, but it weighs only 10 ounces. Parasetter, just like Pilates was, is no longer an insider secret. Do yourself a favor. Reset your parasympathetic nervous system. Defeat stress. Lying, sitting, kneeling, or standing. This unique patented roller helps everyone.
Six years ago, when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit Soulivity.com now.
Our work is a mirror, a mirror of what we believe, all of our work. So what we put on screen is important, wildly important, monumentally important, but the way that we go about that work is also important. Our crews, our directors, our writers, we talk about that and we keep talking about that, and that's a part of the conversation that's being centered right now. And we'll keep doing it until we don't have to have the conversation anymore. But there's a part of that conversation that I don't feel we talk about hardly enough, and that is about our mirror. And for me, that includes representation and our representatives. Who speaks for us within the industry? Our lawyers, our managers, our agents. Those women, humble in ranks, have a struggle within a male-dominated industry. And it is important to me to have an all-women team in the same way that a lot of people have all-men team, right? To make a point. Yeah. To make a point about the importance of the woman's voice in all aspects of the work we choose to do. To have women represent me to the studios and networks in my business endeavors, to align with forward-thinking and like-minded women and men in my work matters to me, because everything matters, not just what's on the screen, but the way we go about putting that work on the screen. The people that you choose to work with and the energy that you give to those people is vital. Oprah Winfrey and Carla Gardini at OWN, who I work with daily on my series Queen Sugar, Lisa Nishimura and Adam Del Deo and Ben Cotner at Netflix, I work with on my documentary 13th, Alan Horn and Sean Bailey and Tendo Nagenda and Jessica Virtue and Jim Whitaker and Catherine Hand, and the people that I work with at Disney in My Heart's Joy right now, A Wrinkle in Time. Representation, how you're represented, how you're reflected, who gets to tell the story, who the story is about, what is the mirror, what do you see when you look in that mirror? Those are things that I think about so much, and I want to tell our stories that represent our realities and our imaginations as women, that reflects our past and our present and our glorious future, and that mirror that we're in a time right now where it's even more distorted than it's ever been. Our reflection. Someone's kind of throwing a stone in the water and making ripples so that we can't even really see ourselves. That our voices we're being asked to silence our voices in this current day at a time when it's so integral that we center ourselves and make our voices heard. And so we have to do that fully. We have to interrogate each other in every aspect of our work. We must, because it all matters. We have to move forward each day with gumption and gusto, everything we can muster. You step out into this world embracing the grace of a gorgeous universe. And you take a deep breath every morning and you bring to the day everything that you can bring. And some days, for me, I bring a lot more than others, but every day I wake up and I do what my mother told me. Treat others like you like to be treated and try your very, very best. And so we do our best wherever we are. We make change in large and small ways, and we do it for each other. We do it for our daughters and our mothers, our sisters, for the Marleys of the world, for the Hillarys of the world. We do it for us. Thank you, my sisters, for this honor. I appreciate it. I'm going back to work.
I'm going back to work.
She's going back
We're
to work.
back. No, we are here with more on Soulivity today. We're discussing the power of our intentions and how they can help support positive transformations in our lives. Dr. Chanel DeGuzman is back with me. Dr. Chanel, I mean, Ava is just bringing it. Our work is our mirror. And, you know, she has intentionally said that in her own work, I'm going to make sure that I have all women working on our sets because of how women have been marginalized, specifically women of color, and that everybody who works with me is going to be a reflection of that intention, right? And
Yes.
in terms of creating a better experience. And so, you know, I mean, our work is our mirror, right? I know
Brian,
this is true in
that
my
is
life.
just absolutely, and it is just super powerful, and I mean, that is intention in action.
Yeah.
Her deliberately setting the intention, for example, an all-woman, team, leadership team, I'll say, you have to decide that, right? You have to
Yes.
decide, and there's a quote that says, you will decide on a matter and it will be established for you." And so just going all the way back to, that point of intention is a point of attraction. There's this quote that says, attention to what attention to what is wanted will become the attraction of it. So when you set the deliberate intention to have a team or have a vision or whatever your intention is, that is the beginning of the attraction to it. And the mirror effect, I think we could definitely all take a step back and, like she said, what did she say? Interrogate each other to
Yes.
really find
Right.
out what is truly important to you, because I think the way that we step into our work is that we decide on a major that may or may not have been what we wanted, and then we go get a job that is closely aligned to that major, whether or not
Hmm.
it's really what we truly wanted, and then that's how we start our work life. It
Right.
would be great if we could set the intention for what it is that we want to experience, the impact and the influence that we want to have, and then create the work around the intention. And I know a lot of us don't have that luxury, Brian. I know it. But I think we're evolving to the place where we can, take a step back and decide what it is that we want. What is the difference that we want to make and make that our work, right? Versus
You know,
responding to an Indeed ad, for example.
yeah, and let's be clear too. Um, I think that when we're in a situation where intuitively we believe that this is not where we really want to be, and that it doesn't really reflect what's living in our heart, what would be our intention, right? The intention can be, show me I have the intention that I will create the path forward for myself. That in of itself is an intention, and you can start focusing on that,
Mhm,
and you'll start
mhm.
attracting to yourself answers and information. This is just not a one shot kind of thing, right?
That's right, that's right.
Where if you're not clear, your intention is, I want clarity, right? So it's
Yes.
not what you don't want, it's what you want. And you're becoming more of a co creator in your life, right? Where you're
Mhm,
focused, laser focused on using your feet, your spiritual feet, and moving
mhm.
forward, right?
Yes,
Into the
yes,
life that you want to create. And
yes.
remember again, and we're got to tie all these things together. So it's what you're focusing, what is your focus today?
Mhm,
Is it
mhm,
limited in scope? Are you
mhm,
including a bigger picture that bigger than anything that you can even imagine? And if you don't know what
mhm.
that is, ask the question, what is that for me?
Yes.
Right? As you're living in your life experience, and your current life experience will get better because you're asking the right questions for yourself, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
then, Brian,
yeah.
drop in a little faith too, right?
Oh yeah,
Drop in some faith.
yeah, yeah. It's all of, well, all of this is about faith, right?
Mhm,
In truth, because you know, our human mind, our ego self, our mind small m, right? Not mind capital M, not our divine self that's connected to God and source and spirit. That small mind doesn't know how to comprehend that, because it's not five
Correct.
senses. We can't smell it. We can't taste it. We can't.
Correct.
That comes after we have faith, right? After we set the intention and say, okay, I know this is true. I know this is what my heart desires. And so now I will wait with divine and joyous expectation of what the universe will bring, right?
Absolutely.
And that will be my path forward. And so,
Yeah.
so thank you for that, because faith has got to be in there, because you're
Oh,
literally,
absolutely.
again, every time you get outside your comfort zone, you're walking out on faith. And that what happens is that you get divine guidance that leads to your best and highest good. And it's always true. Every step forward you take is always for your best and highest good. Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
Brian, and then just
Period.
a step to take that beyond, when we're thinking about stepping outside our comfort zone, we really do have to put our thoughts and our intention, our attention beyond what is. So, beyond what
Yeah.
is today, what we can see, feel, taste, and touch, we need to extend that beyond, like what you said, anything that we can think or imagine. And if
Yeah.
you can actually think and imagine it, it's there for you, right?
Right.
We have to
Right.
then create the action plan and allow divine intervention and guidance and you said spiritual feet to start taking a step by step, because we won't be
Yep.
given the next step until we take that first step, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's one step at a time. And it's important for us to open our spiritual eyes and ears to the changes and the things that are brought to us, because God always answers, the universe always answers, spirit always answers, and gives us immediate indications of where we're at, especially when we set the intentions at this level, right? Because we're now
Right.
in the
Right.
flow, and you may get a phone
Absolutely.
call, you may get an email, get a text, right? A letter drops in that kind of thing, or you see someone at a supermarket that you haven't seen or whatever, and it's like, wow, I haven't connected with this person. He's talking about this and this. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what
Absolutely.
it's all about.
Absolutely.
So listen,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep this going. We have one more segment to go where we're gonna be talking about where she just kind of brings this all home, and she talks about passion, being passion driven and not results driven, as well as a couple of other things that I think all of us need to keep in mind as we move forward in being intentional in our own lives. So we're going to be back in about 2 minutes. Okay, we'll be right back. Find all of the Satana products at our Go shop at go.soulivity.com.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Hey, we're back here with more on Soulivity today. We're discussing the power of our intentions and how they can help support us in positive transformations with our lives and in our lives. And Dr. Chanel is back with me as we talk about this important topic. Dr. Chanel, in this last video clip, this is from one continuous motivational talk that we posted the link to in our on our live feeds here. Uh, Award-winning filmmaker, I love saying that, award-winning filmmaker Ava DuVernay talks about several different important aspects of our intentions, right? She starts with what passion means to her, but then she moves on to a couple of other things that are actually really important for us to hear. So let's watch and discuss this on the other side.
Don't be results driven, be passion driven. There's no strategy to life, no strategy to career, although many people say that there is. I think the best strategy is to be strategyless and to focus on following our passion, and that becomes its own strategy, if you will. I feel pressure only that I put on myself to try to be the best that I can be so that I can be an example for those that need one. I don't think about it a whole lot. I just try to put my best foot forward every hour of every day and move forward in life with gusto and moxie and try to be as fearless as I can even when I'm going into dark places. Sometimes overwhelmed that people take to the things that I make in the way that they do. I don't take it for granted. You know, when I first walk out onto the audience, out onto the stage, in any place, or go into a theater, I'm always surprised that there's people there gathered to see something that came out of my brain. It still kind of gets me every time. I feel grateful.
You gotta love her, right? I mean, she
You
is
gotta love
living
her.
this life. She is living this life that I identify so much with, because I was doing other things. I was trying a lot of other things, and then I was doing other things in my main professional life, thinking that this was separate from my personal life and all that. And I found out, it's all the same. It's
Mm-hmm.
all the same. There's no
Mm-hmm.
delineation between business and personal. It's all personal, right? Um, and her decision making process to say, no, I got this life to live, and I'm going to live it to my fullest, and I'm willing to learn and grow and take some risk through faith and intention, and betting on myself, right? Betting on myself, betting on what I know is my passion and what I know I need to bring into the world, as a co-creator, and that's all these stories, right? That she's been longing to put on the small and the large screen, right? And so, just, I'm glad we're talking about this today. What were your thoughts when you heard her talking about those different pieces, passion, success, and different things?
Well, it brought me back to what she said in the beginning. I think when she really turned the tide, she stopped asking for permission. She
Yeah.
stopped asking for
Hello.
permission. So she
Hello.
made a decision. She got her intention on what she wanted, and she stopped asking and just went for it. And I think that's what we also need to take an important lesson from. So, in my practice, I work with women who invariably do not take the time or do not stand up in that fearless state and go for it versus wondering, can I do this? Will I be allowed to do this? What will they say? So once you stop asking for permission, I think it frees you up to take that risk, to take that leap, to jump out on faith, to put your foot in the water and go for what it is that you want. And she said, strategy less. I like that. I hadn't heard that before,
Yeah.
of taking a route that essentially feels good for you, right? And again,
Yes.
I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. The way you feel is your point of attraction. And so
Yeah.
again, how you're nurturing your inside and taking that vision, passion, and purpose. And then she said with, I think she used the word moxie, Brian,
Yeah. Yeah.
and being
Moxie.
fearless and moxie and bold and going out there and getting what it is that you want. Um, what a difference our world would be if more of us continued to stand up and go for what we want, with that boldness, and taking those risks that are uncomfortable, that you may not know the path, but you make a decision and then you step out and the
Right.
way will be created for you.
Right. Right. You know, it's funny because one of the reoccurring themes in all of the interviews that I've done on Soulivity with people who are living their passion, living their purpose, has been a lot of times they've learned they knew what they wanted to do early in life when they were like children, and they
Yes.
decided
Yep.
this is what I want to do. They had a support system in some way, shape, form, or fashion that supported them in doing that, and that
Mhm.
they've had joyful life, right? One is an actor, and he said, my dream has always been to be a working actor, and he is a working actor right now. Other
Mhm.
people are wanted to do other things, and they are working and they're loving their life, and they have so much peace, right? The peace that they feel coming from just being who they authentically are 100%
Yes.
of the time in this, right? Doesn't mean that they don't have other things that they need to do and grow and all that kind of stuff. Because part of this is, and we said this earlier, that once you start on this path, you're always pushing yourself to grow. And that means that once you get comfortable, you're finding new ways to make yourself uncomfortable so you can grow
Yes.
more, right? And
Yes.
this is
Yes.
always, 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 always true. And so,
Yep.
um, such a great discussion today. Thank you for being part of this. This
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
like, this is some important stuff that we're talking about
Yeah.
today.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
And what is it, Brian, that if you're not growing, you're dying? I mean, so it's a
well,
constant evolution to get to your highest self, which is it's just
absolutely.
exciting. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Listen, we're running up on time, but I wanted to make sure that we get to our Soulivity shameless plugs here. Um, one great way that I know that people can start learning more about taking charge of their life and learning more about that is buying your book, Chanel. Come
Yeah.
back to yourself, right? Love life, live free. It's available anywhere books are sold, but specifically Amazon.com. Can you give people just a quick snapshot of what this book is and what it means to you?
Well, I like what you just said. Being authentically who you are. That is what
Mm,
coming back to yourself means. I mean, we have gotten away, we have let external drive who we really are and influence who we really are. And we want to take a step back and reevaluate what it is that we want, keep that in the forefront of our mind on a daily basis, and lead from that authentic place. That is what coming back to yourself is all about, so that you can love life and live free. And, I encourage you, yes, pick up the book on Amazon. And also, if you want to talk about any aspect of the book, you want a free consultation for coaching, please give me a call. We're happy to set that up for you.
I love it. I love it. And you can reach Chanel at area code 313-410-9909. That's a complimentary coaching session where you can start the next chapter of your life today. Chanel, thanks again for being
Yes,
here. Appreciate you.
absolutely.
Appreciate your thoughts. Appreciate you being part of what I'm driven to do here with Soulivity, and that we have this beautiful, you with other people with this beautiful family of like-minded people, which is part of my intention that we're creating. And
It's a
and so thank you for
beautiful
being part of
intention. Absolutely.
it.
What a great way to start the 2024.
Hey, 2024. is here. Listen, everybody, want to make sure that you know about our wonderful Soulivity.com website where we are talking about many great things. We have a great new article that's on board where we're talking about how to ease the pressure of being a busy parent. I'm sure that Dr. Chanel, you can identify with that.
Yes, I'll be reading that.
And for those of you who have parents who are going into the twilight of their life, there's another great article on guiding hands. It's caring for your aging parents with love and understanding. That's another really, really great article that is just lovely and talks about different aspects of how to support your loved ones as they move into this next phase, this last phase of their lives, in terms of being on the earth this time around. Also, we want to remind you to follow us on social media. We're on all the major platforms. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because when you do that, you'll know exactly when we're going live. You can go back and you can rewatch any of our Soulivity Today shows, as well as our other Soulivity TV shows, including Consciously Awesome Living and Steps to Happiness and Soulivity Weekend, and all the other great interviews that we have done on our platform as well. Listen, this is Brian Wesley Johnson saying thank you for being here. Just want to remind you that, listen, you're not alone in moving into your life to this next phase of your life, especially when you're being pulled to it. And that's what we're all about here at Soulivity. We're here to help create a supportive environment for you so that you can go and read and watch and learn and that kind of thing. And so please come back, check us out, go to our website at soulivity.com and just start by reading an article. I highly recommend it. You won't regret it at all. Again, this is how we do this show every Monday through Friday here at 8 a.m. Eastern on all our Soulivity TV channels. Or if you're out on the West Coast, you can listen to and watch us at 8 a.m. Pacific time on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. Listen, for all of us here at Soulivity, thanks again for joining us. This is Brian Wesley Johnson, and on behalf of Dr. Chanel saying thanks again, and we will see you next time right here on Soulivity Today. Bye for now.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.